If you're watching this video, I already know something about you. You're not here because you're curious about custody. You're here because something in your gut has been telling you for weeks, maybe even months, that the situation your kid is in isn't right. You haven't done anything about it yet. Maybe because you're not sure, maybe because you're hoping it improves, maybe even because you don't know where you'd even start. Maybe because you're scared that if you start, you can't unstart. I understand that feeling. But this video is for you, for the dad. Not the dad in the court, not the dad with a solicitor on retainer. The dad sitting on his sofa, just like I am tonight, wondering if what he's feeling is enough to act on. I was that dad once. I'm going to tell you what I wish someone had told me. No fluff, no selling, just what I actually did. What I do differently and the things that matter most in the part of the journey nobody talks about. The part you decide. Let's start with the thing I needed to hear first. The thing nobody gives you. The hardest part of the hoping phase isn't the situation, it's the doubt. You see something, you think, that's not right. And 5 minutes later, you tell yourself you're just overreacting. You're being dramatic. You're being unfair. You're imagining it because you're tired or jealous or even insecure or because you've watched too many videos like this one. That doubt is what keeps dads stuck in the hoping phase for years. What I learned, if something has been sitting in your gut for more than a few weeks, something you keep coming back to no matter how many times you talk yourself out of it, that's not paranoia, that's information. Your job at this stage isn't to act on it, your job is to stop dismissing it. You're allowed to take what you're noticing seriously. You don't have to know what to do about it yet. You don't have to call a solicitor tomorrow. You just have to stop pretending the feeling isn't there. That's the first thing. There are two kinds of something feeling off, and the difference matters. The first kind is a discomfort of not being the primary parent. Watching her go back to mom's, missing bedtimes, the weekend handovers that never stop feeling weird. The fact that someone else knows your kid's daily routine better than you do. That kind of off is real, but it's not the natural cost of not living with your kid full time. It hurts. It doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong. The second kind is different. It's not about you, it's about something you're observing in your kid or in the environment she's in. That doesn't sit right. It might be small. The way she goes quiet when you mention going back. Things she says that don't sound like her own words. Behaviour changes you can't explain. A pattern of small things that on their own you dismiss, but together start adding up. I'm not telling you what those things mean. I don't know your situation. But I can tell you this, the dad who's still in the hoping phase usually knows the difference between I miss her and something's not right with her. If what you're feeling would stop if you saw her more often, it's the first kind. If what you're feeling would stay even if you saw her every day, it's the second kind. And only the second kind needs what I'm about to tell you to do. These are not legal steps, these are steps before legal steps actually take place. You don't need to hire anybody to do any of these. You don't need to tell anyone you're doing them. You don't need to know if you're going to act on them. They just create the foundation that means if you do decide to act, you're not starting from rock bottom. You're starting with observations and documentations of these things. So 1, open a notes app tonight, right now. Open a fresh document, call it whatever you want. Mine wasn't called anything that gave it away. Start writing down the things you've already been noticing, dates as best you can remember. What happened, what was said, what you saw, what she said when you asked about it. Don't interpret it, don't edit it, just write down what happened and write down whatever your child's telling you in their exact words. Facts only, dates, times, observations. You're not building a case yet, you're building a record. There is a difference. So secondly, write down what good looks like. Most dads never do this. Then later when they're asked in court, what arrangement are you proposing, they freeze because they've never put it into words. In the same notes app, write down what you'd want specifically, days of the week, pick-up times, what you're involved with school, what holidays look like. where you'd live, what your work pattern would have to look like. All these things matter. You're not committing to it, you're stress testing whether what you're imagining is actually going to be possible and work for you. Half the dads I've spoken to discover at this stage that what they want isn't realistic with their current job, current flat, current setup. Better to find out now than 3 months into a process. I made this mistake. 3. Get your finances on paper. This is the unsexy step because nobody wants to make content about this, but it's the step that costs you the most if you skip it. Pull out your bank statements, last 6 months, work out what you actually take home, what your fixed costs are, what's left over. Now look at what the realistic cost would be if you were the primary parent. Bigger flat, the childcare costs, which are fucking ridiculous by the way, school costs, reduced hours, solicitor fees, travel. You don't need to be able to afford it tonight, you need to know what the gap is, because the dad who knows the numbers is a different person in every conversation that comes after with a solicitor, with a partner, with himself at 3 a.m. 4. Make a list of who'd back you. If this ever became formal, court solicitors will ask you who can speak to your relationship with your child, your routine, your character. Most dads I know can't name 5 people off the top of their head. Then they panic. Make the list tonight. Family, close mate, your kid's teacher if they know you, the parent of your kid's friend, your boss, anyone who's seen you be a dad with your eyes open. You're not asking them anything yet. You're just making sure you have a clear picture of who's already in your corner to back you. 5. Book a free consultation with a solicitor, not to hire a solicitor, to learn what hiring a solicitor would involve. Most family law solicitors offer free 20 to 30 minute initial consultation. The one I had was 30 minutes. You can ask questions, you can describe your situation in general terms, you can find out what the process actually looks like in your area, what realistically cost, what they'd need from you. This isn't committing to anything, this is just finding out background information of if you were to go forward, because you haven't done it before, so it's good to know what the system and situation and process of this is actually going to be. Book it, you can cancel, but I bet you won't, because it's very useful information, especially if you're deciding to go full custody. These consultations help a lot. While you're doing the 5 things, here are the 3 things I see dads do that wreck their position before they've even started. 1. Don't tell her mom what you're noticing. I know that sounds harsh, but the worst move you can make in the pre-decision phase is to flag your concerns to the other parent before you've decided what you're doing. It tips them off what you're doing, it lets the situation be cleaned up, it loses you any record you might need, and it puts the conversation on her terms instead of yours. This isn't about being deceitful, it's about not making a permanent move before you've decided what move you're making. 2. Don't post it about on social media, not vague, not subtle, not even a meme that sort of hints at it, nothing. Anything you put online becomes evidence for her that she can use against you. She can argue you can be hostile, unstable, or making public case before you've even made a private one. Even if it's true, you just handed them the framing and the evidence they need to make you feel untrusted. Talk to a trusted mate, talk to family. If you trust them, talk to a solicitor. Don't talk to the internet, it's the worst thing possible. Don't try to fix it by being a better dad in front of her mom. This one's subtle. A lot of dads in the pre-decision phase start performing presence around the other parent, showing up early, staying longer, being more obviously involved, hoping it'll register. It usually has the opposite effect. Puts the other parent on alert, makes the situation feel different and makes you look like you're trying to build a case rather than just being a dad. Be a great dad to your kid always, but do it for her, not as a performance for anyone watching. I'm going to tell you what I did, not because your story will be mine, but because most dads in the pre-decision phase don't realise this. The quiet phase is the most important part of the whole journey. I gave myself a year. I didn't tell anyone I'd made a decision. For that year, I documented what I could, calmly, carefully. Times, observations, in a notes app that nobody else saw. I worked out my numbers, I worked out where I'd live. I worked out what my job would have to look like. I had to change careers at one point just to make things work. I had one free consultation, then another when I started saving. At the end of the year, when I finally decided to act, I wasn't acting from feeling, I was acting from evidence. There's a massive difference. And here's the part that still sits with me. If I hadn't done that year of quick, quiet work, I ran out of one because the situation didn't justify it, because I wouldn't have been ready. The hoping phase isn't wasted time. It's the foundation of everything that comes after. As long as you stop hoping, stop and start preparing. If you watch this far, you already know what kind of something off you're sitting with. You don't need to decide tonight whether you're going to act. You don't need to know what the outcome will be. You don't need to have it figured out. You just need to do one of the 5 things I gave you tonight before you go to sleep. Open the Notes app or write down what good looks like, or book a free consultation for the next week. Just one, because the difference between the dad who acts and the dad who stays in hoping phase for 5 more years, it's never one big moment, it's one small move made tonight by you, quietly without anyone knowing. Your kid is depending on the version of you who decides, not the version of you who just sits and waits.